was in Ukraine last week. A brave people united in standing up against Russian aggression, but also very clear messages that this is now in very dire straits. And I think the US support package was extremely welcome for President Zelensky. But that should inspire us. That does not mean that we Europeans are off the hook.
7:51 now. Joe Biden spent 8 months trying to secure $60 billion in American taxpayers' money for Ukraine, and this week should have that funding package finalised. Meanwhile, in Britain, we gave about 0.5% of our GDP in aid to Ukraine between January 2022 and January 2024, according to the Ukraine Support Tracker tool. But one of Europe's leaders on that front is another founding member of NATO. Norway gave around 1.5% of its GDP to Ukraine during the same period, 3 times our sum. Is that a number closer to what ours should be? We can speak now to Norway's Foreign Minister, Espen Barth Eide. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be on your show.
You're very welcome. How do Norwegians regard the amount, the level of aid that you give to Ukraine?
So my sense is that it's very welcome, and there's actually more people arguing we should do even more than people saying we should do less. Remember that Norway is a neighbor of Russia. We are a little bit away from Ukraine, but not further than we understand that this is not only about Ukraine's security, but also about Europe's security. So this is really existential. And we were early in saying that we needed a large support package. It had to be flexible between military and civilian contribution and flexible over time. So far we've had a 5-year program. And right now we're discussing extending that both in volume, but also in years.
And when you compare how much you, Norway, are giving compared to, for example, Germany or the United Kingdom, do you see a discrepancy there? Do you think it should be more in line?
Well, we were, at least by last year, we were probably the highest per capita contributor. Now we're happy to see that other countries are coming our way, including our Nordic brothers and sisters, Denmark and Sweden and Finland. Others have now really stepped up as well. Not to speak about the Baltic countries, of course, small economies, but very large percentages. So we want to do much and we want to do more. So I don't want to speak for other countries, but I think as a collective, as all the countries that understand the importance of Ukraine prevailing here, we should all try to do more. And more is both a question of how much, but also about what. Because sometimes you can compensate lack of quantity by quality. But of course, at the end of the day, Ukraine needs more of everything. They need more air defense, they need artillery munitions, they need long-range missiles, but they also need support for rebuilding their energy infrastructure, for running their schools, running their state, and for protecting their harbours so that they can export food to the world, for instance. So they really need it. I was in Ukraine last week. A brave people united in standing up against Russian aggression, but also very clear messages that this is now in very dire straits. And I think the US support package was extremely welcome for President Zelensky. But that should inspire us. That does not mean that we Europeans are off the hook. That should inspire us to do more as well.
What about, we've been talking about aid, but what about military help? This has come because of the Iranian action against Israel. Should we be helping Ukraine in terms of defending itself from Russian drones in the same way? Do you think that is something that we should be getting involved with? President Zelensky has said that it should be.
So I met President Zelensky last Monday, a week ago today, and that was it was hours after the very successful defense of Israel and other allies against the Iranian drone. So he was very strong in his message that if that can be done there, why not here? No, of course, NATO and NATO countries, NATO is an alliance, and individual NATO members have been very clear that we don't want to send our troops on the battlefield as fighters. We don't want to be parties directly to this war. And I think, after all, it's Russia, the nuclear Russia on the other side. But as long as you don't want to do that, I think it is paramount that we're able to help the Ukrainians to defend themselves.
Okay.
And that means literally defense, meaning air defense and everything else. You need to keep your cities, your harbors, your energy infrastructure, your industry free from drone attacks and missile attacks. But
Okay.
it needs more than that, because you also need to help them to be able to regain the offensive. It's because air defense protects you, but it doesn't win the war. So if you want Ukraine to prevail, we need to also step up what type of military support we give.
Okay, thank you very much for talking to us. That's Espen Barth Eide. He's Norway's foreign minister.